Hey y'all, it is Lena Bell, Southern ASMR, back with another brief history video, this time specifically on rag rugs, not just showing them to you, but talking about them. Now, braided rag rugs, which we have here, this is just one. I know it's a little dizzying to look at. I didn't have much of a design to it, and I apologize. Now, braided rag rugs began to pop up in the new American colonies during the late 1500s to early 1600s. Women settlers made use of the scraps of material left over from sewing projects to create the braided rugs. Now, strips of wool, cotton, or burlap are often the fabrics incorporated into a rug that you strip into, I do about 1 inch to 2 inch strips, sew together at the top, and braid into rope. This is another rag rug I have on the floor. It is very large, very large, into a rope. And then what you do, now this really shows it. This is a scrap piece I have that I just used pieces from just all over, really, and from my other projects to put together to show myself, like, okay, I did all these, like, this is how far I've come. I'll hold this up because it's smaller than my other rugs. They were incorporated into the design. There were several ways to create a braided rag rug. Now, plaiting the strips or material together was the most popular technique, which is what I'm talking about. Once a number of strips were plaited, they were all stitched together to create braided rugs. So once you braid it together, there is braiding into a rug, meaning you start with you don't braid it first like I have here, and then sew it together. If I can pick this up. This is one rug, and so you know what you're not doing. So you're not braiding into all this beautiful rope. This is many yards, several yards worth, and then braiding it together like this. You're not doing that in this example. You're braiding it into it. While the men were out farming, hunting, and building new structures, the women would tailor new clothes and craft new braided rugs, as well as many other different sewing projects. If you watch my other video, talk about quilting. The women would then pass their rug-making skills down their daughters, leaving a lasting tradition for others to follow. These rugs became a staple accessory in the homes of American colonists. Not only were they being used in homes, but braided rugs were also found in churches, city halls, markets, and other places. The most common of braided rugs is the oval-shaped one. I don't have exactly oval. Now this one started as an oval, and then I rounded it out as time went on. More. This is a big one. This one is not really flopping. However, these can be in almost any shape or form, including squares, circles, rectangles. I've seen rectangles, but I haven't done that. As well as hearts. Hearts, you just start out. You start out the same way. I apologize for this kind of broke. It looks funny at the bottom. This is a pretty big one. With a heart or any other shape, it's how you start it in the middle. So as you can see, I started a circle shape here. I stitch in the back, kind of hold it together, and like stitch, hold, stitch, hold, stitch, hold. And to a heart, you just do, you'd be stitching a V first. That's how that would work. The only limitation of the braided rugs is the creativity of the crafter. Braided rugs are still made by either hand or factory machines, but these stunningly beautiful and equally versatile home accessories are now used by millions of families throughout the world. There are many different kinds. What people usually buy is like an ultra durable, some kind of durable braided rug, a jute braided rug, ultra wool, like some kind of wool, or just specifically cotton braided rugs. Now what we have here are a mix of various fabric. Now I just finished this one. Actually, this is for a gift, amongst other gifts, because I know I messed up. Well, not messed up on the side, but the seams are very obvious. So this is actually a shirt and a sheet together, and then this is a scrap red, and then a red t-shirt, two extra large t-shirts were put into this. So all the white is one extra large t-shirt. I really didn't have much scrap left. The only scrap left I had is in this piece over here. That's all I had left. And then a lot of the bread you're seeing is an extra large men's t-shirt as well in red. And you can actually find some of the, you can kind of see some of there was words on the t-shirt. Anyway, this is the back side. It doesn't look as pretty because I just sew on the back side, which is typically what you want to do. You can sew in between layers. I have another one over here. This one I'm really excited about because it's a specific design for this one. Now I sew in the back stitch, and you can machine do them by yourself as well, but you would need a denim needle with 5 braid. Typically 3 braid is the most popular, like how you may commonly braid hair, and that would be easier to machine stitch. This is so thick I have broken a couple needles on my machine, so I just ended up stopping. And you can sew in the middle, go like this, and then stitch up. But I prefer the back because you're not going to see the back. I've used these on floor the floor. Now, beginning in early American history, you're not going to have the floors you have today. You don't have these nice carpeted floors. You might not even have wooden or any kind of flooring at all, maybe just dirt. So you want to have something beneath your feet. And utilizing the scraps that you had, garbage, how people, how we had today have this garbage of these scraps is not at all how they had. Like I sew a lot and I don't get rid of my scraps for as much as I can. I have a pile of scraps over in that corner, which I don't really want to show, but it's amazing how this piece wants to come out. Scraps. Now these are going to be ironed and used for a quilt actually. But scraps like these can be cut. And you can see it's an odd shape. You can cut and create so many other things. And you can braid your fabric into many other designs. I've done that, I can show that as well, but the traditional rag rug making is what I wanted to discuss today. Now, there isn't much of a more history to it. I really wish I could give you this very versatile history. This specific design is very, well, not this specific design, but the 5 braiding rug and how we sew it together is very American. You can obviously see this, and you can absolutely see this in other countries, but early American settlers and what we have today, now a lot of this has been passed down from what it was originally, the purpose, the design and the purpose. In America, not having the same flooring, not having, I've used this on top of tables, but not just beneath the table. It takes a lot longer than quilting. At least I've had a lot harder time doing this in a timely manner. This one is my most recent one. And it took me about 3-4 weeks. And I did it a little differently. It's all one cohesive strand, one braid is in this entire thing, but and the reason it's so different is because a lot of these and why it looks messed up is because I typically would just measure each, then snip, sew the end to the next one, so it's very symmetrical. This one I was like, I could do it, and this side looks beautiful. This side maybe not as much. But that's okay. It's all about, it's all just how you envision or what you do. They're a very creative outlet for me, as well as quilting, as well as many other sewing projects with clothing. I've made clothing. It's just not as interesting to me, I feel like, because how many times are you going to see these, handmade? And they can last a very long time. I've seen braided rag rugs. I think the earliest one I've ever seen, it was a three braid from 18. I worked at a living museum. It was like a park, and you dress up in this park there. I would really admire the quilts and the rag rugs, and the oldest one I think was right after Civil War, maybe 1870, and it was still pieced together. It wasn't as beautiful. It definitely had worn down. That was really, it was just worn down. The color is absolutely faded. Stitching sometimes has to be done on these things. I really, really, really tight stitched them because I don't want them to come up. But I wish I had a little more to talk about these. I wanted to give just a brief little video to not just show them off, but to talk about the importance of them, history. And now I've always talked about women sewing these, and traditionally that's just how it was. But men, anyone could sew these. Anyone could make these great. Anything, sew anything. See, I'm in my sewing room. As you can see, my threads all in color coordination up against the window. So I thought I would just. Also, I like picking these up because it's just like, wow, this took me about 2 weeks just to braid everything. And then I have another one on the floor that is also a lot. And this has a very specific design to it, so I'm excited when it's all done. It's going to take a long time. But there's some corners. And yes, I plan on making more. I've made a tapestry piece as well. They could be made, this braided design I've seen people use just the braid for like a purse handle. But this is the traditional history. I'm blabbing on. Thank y'all so much for listening and tuning in, and I appreciate y'all. Please comment, like, subscribe, whatever you feel inclined to do. Love to hear more. Love to hear more from everybody, because it's just amazing. I think I have exactly 110 subscribers, and that's just insane. So, thank y'all guys. Thank you guys. Thank y'all. Bye.